to reach out to some of the coaches around the country. It's really been an honor and a blessing for me that I didn't really see coming, but I was able to reach out to a bunch of guys, right? And you just don't know. I didn't expect the response, but there's been dozens and dozens of guys said, yeah, I'll do it. So it just really confirms this coaching fraternity is tight. It's where it should be, and everybody's in a different spot right now with working from home or coaching from home and all that kind of good stuff that's going on with our lockdown. But it's been really cool to see coaches being able to share and give us their time, and talk some ball. So we're going to get this thing cooking here in a second with Coach Harvey. Right now, guys, you're muted. What we'll do is once Coach gets going, you'll have the raise hand function. You'll be able to ask a question as we go along, and we'll let Coach with his workflow just kind of see how things are going, and if we can answer questions along the way, we'll do that. We'll definitely leave time at the end to ask questions before we jump on to our next speaker. All right. So, Coach Harvey, I appreciate you coming on tonight. It's been a pleasure talking to you and getting to meet you a little bit. I know you've coached at the highest level in the state of Texas, and we appreciate you coming on and talk a little football with us and get our stuff going on tonight. So you've got the floor, Coach. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Coach. Appreciate you having me, and I'm honored. I'm honored to be part of something that the things that you're doing for the game is extremely commendable. So thank you, guys. Thank you guys for jumping on here, whether it's afternoon or early evening. If you're out in the Central Time Zone like I am, see some familiar faces, names. So I appreciate you guys, both friends and new friends. I want to echo what Coach Cam said, and the coaching fraternity. Wow, they're handing off to us. I think to you guys and to all the coaches across the country. I mean, Jason Washington on this thing this morning out at Mississippi State, who's a near dear friend of mine, and so just really honored and blessed to be a part of everything going on in the Zoom world, and then. Obviously with what's going on here tonight. So hopefully I can give you a little bit of something. Just telling guys, I've learned everything I've learned from the coaches across this great nation. And anything I know, it's not something I've made up. And, I think it's work for us, but I'm not calling it gospel by stretch. And so one of the things that I want you guys to understand is also the dudes that you're going to see in film have made me feel like a much better coach than I really am. Shoot, man. I mean, Jay Washington with Caden Stearns and company. I guys that are at Baylor. What's up, Jay Wash? I see. I got guys at Oklahoma State. Guys at SMU. I mean, they look like a good coach. And I'm just honored to be part of it and honored to be a part of this. So I'm going to kind of, Coach said, I'm going to go with the flow thing. What I'm going to do is make sure that this is authentic and organic. I don't want it to be a presentation where Coach Harvey is this and that. Like, you guys jump in, obviously, through the chat feature. And please, call me out if there's a better way to do it, because I can always learn from you guys as well. This is not something that I'm the creator of. So without further ado, Coach Cam, we good?
Yeah, we're good. We're good, Coach. Perfect.
Awesome. Good deal. All right. So before we start, guys, I'm an open book. So I want to start out, and I actually put this in here, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and just give you, all my information. If you want to reach out on Twitter, there's my Twitter handle. If you want to call my cell phone or text me, there's my cell phone number, and there's my email address. And so if you want this presentation at the end, I've already downloaded it from Hutto and have it in my inbox ready to send out. You're welcome to it. You guys can download it, throw it in your Hutto. You do whatever you want to do with it. just, again, reach out anyway. Any of those three methods is perfectly fine with me. And then we'll pull that back up at the end if anybody else needs it. But there you go. So if you want to take a screenshot or write it down or whatever you want to do, that's that. So moving on. We base out of a press 2, and this is more of a palm setup, guys. It's a 2 read. So I want to make sure that's out there in the open, whether you're a Nick Saban fan and talk about old country coverages or the match stuff. We're kind of a hybrid. We run a little bit of everything. So you're going to see some zone dropping here. Most of it you're going to see with zone eyes. I'm a zone eyes believer. I think if you're sending pressures, particularly with 5-man or 6-man pressures, then you've got to match it. You'd be dumb not to match things. But we're a heavy zone eyes team, so you're going to see a lot of that. We feel like that we can check to 3 easily from our split safety look. And then as every coach in America, we want to make sure our alignment and then our assignment and our aggression are intact every time we step on the field, every play. So we want to be extremely sound against everything thrown at us. Obviously, are there cover 2 beaters? Absolutely. And I always get that question. We know that we can get beat on any particular scheme. At the same time, again, this has worked for us, and we're going to get in your business early on as a press team. So that's kind of what we've lived with at Steele High School, and that's what we're going to live in at Hutto High School until those kids prove differently. But I can tell you this, it's a mentality. So I've already talked to them in my installs. Fellas, if you're not willing to press, then you might as well go play receiver, and then we'll knock the crap out of you, right? We're going to press your ass. And that's the way we play ball. That's the way that our mentality is going to be. And if you don't like it, then Coach Harvey's probably not going to be one of your favorite coaches, all right? But if you do, let's go, let's roll, and let's have fun. So moving on here, why we feel like we can do, and again, cover 2 is palms, guys. It's a little bit different read of cover 2. Palms is sometimes cover 4 to somebody, and it may be cover 2 to somebody else with the 2 read tag. So you just bear with me with that. But why we feel like we can do it is we can line up versus different formations, and what every coach in the country wants to do is stop the run, right? So we've got that secondary force guy that can immediately be a primary force dude if played right. You'll see that here in this presentation momentarily. All right. I think it also eliminates the big play. So when we press, we're gonna get in that dude's mess, right? We're gonna get in his business right now. As soon as he crosses over into our world, we call it cross the river, then he's in my world. I'm gonna let him know, right? I'm not just gonna be passive. I'm not just gonna allow him to have a free release. And that makes that deep ball that everybody's afraid of when we press, it makes it very difficult if I do right at the line of scrimmage. And then it also takes away the passing game. So the big play, meaning down the field, shots, all that good stuff. But then also we're not just going to line up 6x1, off of that dude and let them throw, hitches and tunnel screens all day long and just nickel and dime us down the field. We want to make sure we take that away as well. And I think press 2 can do that. From our corners position, we're going to align as close as we can to the line of scrimmage. So you're going to hear me talk about BCS. And if any of you guys were at the ASCA convention out in Nashville this past January, I hit this pretty hard on the skills and drill session. So if I know the ASCA has been gracious to give those free that free access to that virtual vault, so you can go watch that talk as well and just kind of see it in action. But we're going to align to as close as we can to that receiver. And so a lot of times we'll get an inverted look. That's okay. Now it's the line of scrimmage, because that line of scrimmage is where he's got to cross to go anywhere. If he wants to stay over there and dance, I'm going to let him stay over there and dance. So we're going to align as close as we can. And that's where we get into the BCS. So I want to smell his breath. If he's on the line, I want to be as close as I can possibly be to smell his breath. Now I'm going to go to C, right? So I want to see his core. Okay, so I want to get down in good football posture, good bend in the ankles, good bend in the knees, flat back, all the things that we teach, and I want to stare right through his belly button. I was a basketball player growing up, so it's on the ball basketball, one-on-one. What I learned in the 6th grade when I really started focusing in on the game, I want to stare through that dude's belly button, because where he goes, his belly button has to go. He can shake with the shoulders, he can give me head shakes and head fakes and all that jazz, but he's going where the button goes. And so that's what I want with good football posture, right? And then S is strike. So you may be wondering where BCS came from.
let's back up a few years, right? When the BCS was a big deal, that's when I came up with the acronym. So some of these younger kids have no clue what the BCS is. What do you mean, coach? It's college football playoff. Well, it hadn't always been that way. So what we're going to talk about now is triple B, right? Or B cubed. You can go breath, buckle, and then battle. But that S is going to be strike. Okay, I want to strike that joker as soon as that ball snaps and he crosses into my world. That's a big point, big coaching point, because if I cross the river, now we do what everybody's afraid of in press coverage, and we're lunging. If we lunge and we get our weight over and outside of our body, you know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden we're in catch mode. Okay, I don't like to use the phrase out of phase because that tells us we're already beat. In my opinion, I don't use it. I just call it catch mode. All right, so if I'm in catch mode, that means I got to catch the dude that's running down the field, i.e. out of phase. So we're going to do that, and we're going to do it from a head-up alignment. This is where a lot of guys maybe not disagree with me, but they're scared to do what we do. And I'll just start out with that as a disclaimer. We're going to get 2 hands on instead of just 1. So I don't care about inside hand, outside hand jam unless I'm running press bail. But in my true press 2 look, I want to get 2 hands on that joker, and I want to stymie him. I want to stop his momentum. I want to impede his progress as much as possible because that's going to help my dude in the back end. That's going to help my safety out, right? As soon as I get that stymie, now I want to have active eyes. So I want to get my eyes inside the 2. Here's where the 2 read comes in. What is 2 doing right now? And now it's just regular palms. I want to get 2 eyes to 2, reading the ball, all that. I'm going to reroute with physicality. Now I'm playing force flat. So my flat will begin 5 yards, will rally to everything underneath. I can sink all the way back to as deep as 15 yards. That's day 1 coverage stuff, and then don't be a robot, right? Find the routes in the closest vicinity and cover those first, okay? So that's kind of where we're at the corners. Guys, I'm kind of moving quickly here because I want to make sure I get through the whole presentation. So, again, please reach out if you have anything, and then I'm not seeing where you guys can ask questions, so hopefully I'm not missing that, but we'll answer them at the end for sure. From the safety position, right, we're going to be 10 to 15 yards depending on Friday night abilities is what I talk about all the time. So you know what you can do, guys. I mentioned Caden Stearns earlier. Caden can play from freaking 20 yards and get to point A to point B in a snap of a finger. But usually 10 to 15 is what I want to give them, 10 to 12 for freshmen. And it all depends on your situation and ability. I'm not going to stop the rep and say, okay, guys, you're not exactly where I want you to be. I want to give them some freedom in that. The hash rule is something that we try to adhere to as much as we possibly can. The better they get, the more they can move around. But I want to keep my guys 2 to 3 yards from that hash. It doesn't matter where the ball is. The ball's placed in the middle, which is a rarity. All right, most of the plays we're going to find are either away to the field or to the boundary. And so we now have that 2-yard hash rule that can fluctuate depending on the placement of the ball. All right. The third thing is a huge deal, as we all know. We want to disguise as long as possible. Right. I got a chance to talk to Coach Gundy, Mike Gundy, who obviously is a big quarterback guy a few years ago. And one of the things I took from the conversation was when we can roll and screw that quarterback up. And the later we can do it, the better off we're going to be. So one of the things he kind of put me in my place because I'm sitting there thinking complex. You know, he's like, well, Coach Harvey, what is the one thing that a quarterback has to do, you know, at every play? And so I'm sitting there trying to answer, well, he's got to read 1 high, 2 high, and then he's got to go through his progressions. He's like, stop, you missed something. So I'm like, what are you talking about, Coach? What did I miss? He said, well, he's got to catch a snap, especially out of shotgun. Everybody's in shotgun nowadays. When he looks down to catch that ball, I guarantee you he's not looking back up again. That's when you need to roll. I thought that was really good, very, very detailed, and honestly very elementary. And something that I missed. So that's something that we worked on in the last few years. We're in a pass-first responsibility for obviously playing on the roof. We want to read ball to wide receiver. Our reads are a little bit different in press palms. We want to read the release of 1 before we even stare at 2. And a lot of guys ask me why. And here's my easy answer. I would rather have 2 eyes on 2 receivers than 4 eyes on 1. Okay, and so what I mean by that is if the corner is going to read 2, and we've already established that after he stymies that guy, he's getting his eyes inside of reading 2, and my safety is reading 2, well, who's reading 1? You know, and you can play from an off position and playing playing palms from an off position, and now you can make that read a little bit easier. You have a little bit more time. But out of press, somebody better read 1. So we read 1 with the safety first. Okay, so once I get my hands on from the corner's position, get my eyes inside, I'm looking at one with the release in mind from my safety position. Okay, and now I can see if both are pushing vertical. Now I can hug my hash, get my eyes back to 2, and you guys know the rest of the story based on your press palms or your palms concepts, right? So that's that. I'm going to fly through all this other stuff. A lot of this is drills, guys. I'm using the same stuff that that we've used later. So we just, we work a Hutto with a late turn, stuff that you guys all do. Fly through this. Again, if you want this presentation, give me a shout. We actually do a quick turn as well. So if we feel like they're going to throw something right now just to get out of our pedal, we want to do that. Okay, we'll work the shovel in with a hip roll here. All we're working right now is hip fluidity. You know what I'm saying? We're not working on anything else other than getting our hips moving from the safety position, and then just an easy, nice little shuffle out from the corner position. Square the weave. This is something I've actually changed. We'll go a little bit wider now than what you'll see here. Here, we're just going to straddle this line. But now I really want to get some width and depth with my weaves, right? So just staying square. You can see the kid on the left there does a pretty good job. Both of those guys are young in that clip, and they're fairly stiff, but you get the idea there. Guys, every DB coach in the country is doing these. I'm going to fly through them. You can kind of get it, right? Stick foot, come back down. You got the 45s right there, okay? So now this is a drill I will spend a little bit of time on because I've gotten some questions on. We call this a communication drill. It's a pre-practice drill before period 1. I want my guys out 15 minutes before practice is supposed to start, and this is the first thing we do. So the way I do it is I want them to imagine the game, right? So I want them to get into their minds what needs to happen for us to be extremely successful and play fast. So what I'm doing right now is I'm giving them a formation. And so now they have to visualize what doubles looks like, what trips looks like, what 20 personnel, 2 backs, or whatever they're in. We want to envision what it looks like. And then we want to call the coverage based on the formation, roll the coverage, and then execute it. It's real simple. So it's something that we started doing a couple of years ago because we were having a hard time communicating. And that was a coaching thing, I felt like. It pissed me off at my guys, but then at the end of the day, I had to look in the mirror. It was my fault. We weren't practicing it. So we started practicing communicating. So you can just see, now we've got, this is our press palm right here. Boom. Hugging the hash. All I need is a few steps. Just give me your primary position and show me what you know. Show me that you're going to be in the right spot. Next play. Here's a different coverage. All right. So you see the man turn from the outside. All this is our press man stuff. Run cover 0, or you can go man free with the 2 high shell. All right. So here we're going to come back. We're going to call another one. Now we're going to go sky 3 to the top. I'm scrolling down. Third, poacher. You see what we got. Got so low on the back line. All right, so just here's our off look right here out of quarters. Just our off look, hopping the feet from the safety position. You can kind of get the idea. It's just a pre-practice deal that's worked for us. It might be something that you guys can do. All right, so here, this is where it really came to fruition. We were talking about communicating, and this happens too late. Let me just go ahead and say that. I would rather this be communicated a lot earlier. They actually tempoed us a little bit here. Felt like they could get us in something that they, felt, they could get us out of or whatever. And we were running some different coverages. So we're communicating right here. He pops up and does a 2 pop right now on the RPO because our outside backer's coming. And because we know what we're in, the safety's able to play fast. All right. And I apologize if the film is choppy here. We're going to do our best with that. But you get the idea, right? So we're just calling that real quick and making sure that we can make a play on that football as quickly as possible. All right. We actually had a blitz coming there, so he was just reading that. So here's the mirror drill from the corner's position. I will spend some time on this so you guys can kind of get the idea. So go back to cross the river. All right. As we cross that river, as this guy crosses the river, we are now getting in his business. But until he does, he can dance all he wants to, and we're just going to mirror him. So you can see it's a good footwork drill. I'm just staring through the core right now. So go back to BCS. All right. Staring through the belt buckle, staring through the core. Everything is staying low. Where his core goes, he goes. So I just want to be really, really tactful with that and play that the right way. All right. We're going to service each other. So you can see the next rep here. This kid's also a 5-star. He'll be at Texas A&M in the fall. Really good football player. He's probably, I think, a sophomore this year. This is 2017, if I'm not mistaken. That kid right there is at SMU. So again, I've had some dudes. Get the idea there. Now we're going to switch to leverage. Okay, so you can kind of see from this angle, he's got his inside foot splitting the crotch of that receiver, or I can put my pinky toe to the big toe of that guy if I want to switch that leverage, but I can still get two hands on. Just dance with him a little bit, mirror him, right? So you can see what we call a pure step. Stole that from Coach Carroll. Pete Carroll called it pure step. That first step needs to be horizontal right there. You can see that's a pretty good job by that kid. All right, horizontal step, and just make sure that we're mirroring everything he does. There's outside leverage here. He steps with the outside foot first. No big deal. All right, again, just patience. You guys kind of get the idea there. All right, there's more reps. Here's a T-step. We actually changed it to a pure step because of all the T-step stuff and coming back down. This is something that you can do with your corners. Sorry, that's stacked wrong. All right. What we do here is we want to get them running. So, good weight management. That's something that we focus a lot in on the off season. Is these kids don't know how to manage weight, and then they want to blame their cleats for slipping all over the turf. When the truth of the matter is, it's their weight management that's poor. And so what we'll do is we'll just take 3 steps, and we're just, step, 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 go. And there it is. We just want to manage our weight, get our weight on that proper foot, and be able to push off and get from point A to point B quickly. Just another little drill that we've worked. All right, here's a hip reading drill that we all do out of our man stuff. When they throttle, we throttle. Now we're going to turn it, okay, and work our 2-yard stuff. So this is where our press palm stuff comes in. We've got a 2-yard cushion, 18-yard line and 22-yard line on this particular rep. We want to chase that guy 2 yards. Again, once he crosses, 2 hands on. So you can see, I'm not going to touch him until he crosses the river. Now he's in the river, I've got him. All right, I got him. He's in my world, I've got him. Right? Now should roll it. Now get over the top. Get over the top of everything. You can see this next rep here. He's playing a little inside leverage there, so he does a good job of letting it go. All right? He knows where that 2-yard rule is, and now he's just going to squeeze it back to the outside with zone eyes. Okay, you get the idea there. Then we're going to turn it horizontally. So right there, boom. We shove him off. We've got that zone backer, and now I want to get back to my landmark. So our divider is the top of the numbers in our press palms. Top of the numbers is where we want to divide it. All right, so we'll get to the film here. You can see what we're talking about. Now, this is play 30. This is semifinal game in 2016. And it's early in the ball game, as you can see. We have already established, now some of it is through film watching. I have no idea what's happened up to this point, just to be completely honest with you guys. Either we turn the ball over and they got a short field, we could have had a bad punt, I don't know. But I do know this, it's play 30, and this dude right here wants no part of our press concept. You can see that on the release. So when he releases inside, if he doesn't cross the river, he's just dancing to me right there. I don't need to touch him. And so right now it looks like maybe possibly a sluggo to a wheel. It could be just a shoot route. It could be a number of things. So let's let this thing play out. I didn't have to touch him. He's already gone from 2 feet. And now I'm opening up with zone eyes. My eyes are on 2. You can see it right there. This is where the palms comes in. I'm reading 2. Safety, you can see. He's already 1 right here. He read the release of 1. His eyes automatically go to the football, right? His eyes go to the football because of the great job that we did here, and we didn't even do anything. They're just afraid of the press. So how many receivers want to face the press? Not many. I guarantee in high school, nobody does, right? And so, again, this is a state semifinals. This is no slouch team. So what happens is as soon as I see that release, now I want to play in between the 2 routes. I'm going to fast forward or back up here real quick. I want to play in between the 2 routes. So in this position right now, I'm 5 yards from the original line of scrimmage. I can cover him. If I stick foot on the high foot, I can break on that football and either get a PBU or a pick 6. I can also cover the shake route. Now that shake route looks like it's going to probably break at around the 11-yard mark, all right, maybe upwards to 15-yard mark. That's where his zone comes into play. We're playing 5 to 15 with a read in mind. So I'll let this dude catch it. Unless I can break on it right now, I'll let this dude catch it. I'll stick and come on and make a tackle. This guy, I want to play underneath knowing that I got safety help over the top. All right, so you can see he jumps it right there. Boom. Goes up and gets a nice pick. It's a really nice play by the corner. He doesn't even touch anybody, and we're talking about being physical. Again, it's a mindset. So you can kind of see how it all shakes out and plays out. All he's doing is waiting for the crack of the egg for presentation on the football right there, and then he jumps it. Boom. We got safety help over the top, and then he does the rest. Great play. All right, so, all right, Coach, well, how do you stop the run? I get that question a lot. Well, here's a great example of the way we stop the run. All right, again, down here to the boundary. We're doing a great job of getting close. There's your BCS. All right, I've locked in. I'm seeing his core. Now, this dude gets in our jump. All right, again, if you know Austin Westlake, you know you probably heard Coach Salazar just this morning. Wonderful football program. They just won it all in the state of Texas this past year, beat us on the way to winning that title in round 1. All right, so this is a good football team. We're still up in his grill. This guy's a sophomore in this particular season, and he beats him off the bat. We get beat, and you can see it as I roll it. Right now, wham, he beats us, but it's the mentality. We are playing press to eventually win it all. So we get our hands back on him. We're going to shock and shed. He's going to put him in the dirt or put him in the pocket, whichever way we can do. There he goes down, and boom, coming on the option. So this is how we get that force right now. And we got that outside backer playing the quarterback, so he's playing primary force. Our secondary force is coming from the corner position in our Palms concept. And you can see he knocks the ball loose. We end up on top of it. It's a big play for us. Big play for the good guys. Again, it's part of the mentality. We get beat early on right there. He just stays with the plan. There's a shot. There's a shed. Come on. Let's go. All right, moving on. So this is Lake Travis. Again, all relativity, right? Great football program in the state of Texas. Here's Garrett Wilson down here. He's at Ohio State. Here's Hudson Card on his way to UT. All right, this guy right here played at Arkansas for a little while, Malik Barkley. I'm not sure if he's still there or not. There's a Baylor guy up here in the tight end, and these guys can roll. So what we're doing here, you can see a great job of getting 2 hands on with the corner up to the boundary, and then we're just sinking. And again, that 5 to 15 mark is so huge in the way we play our press palms, because we think for a minute that we're in regular cover 2, and so he's going to run a shake route. You'll see it. Once that shake route goes, we're going to jump that in regular cover 2. Well, if we're reading it right, we're going to get underneath that thing 15 yards. I got safety help over the top, and we should at least get a PBU, if not a pick, like you saw earlier with the pick 6 on the first clip. So here we go. Let it roll. All right, great patience right there. He almost takes that false step. You can see he takes a step forward with his inside step, but then he reroutes right there with 2 hands. You can see that stymie. This is what the stymie looks like. Bam, right there. That little bit right there helps the safety play about 1,000 miles faster. And so now, there it is. Boom, there's your smash concept. He cuts his route, run smash. We continue to sink underneath the route. Yeah, could have been a better throw, but I'm thinking if he throws that like a normal smash and puts a little bit of air under it, that gives my safety more time to work underneath it. We should get a PBU from the safety position, if not a pick. So there's your idea about what we're trying to do. Great job by the corner, diving in there and knocking that ball away last second. All right, we're 2 over 1. We're 2 over 1. That's exactly what we want. We want that dude to check that ball down and throw it back here, and then we want to stick our high foot and come back and maybe get a PBU there. All right. So again, press palms. That's what we're trying to do. All right. Now, right here again, Lake Travis. Once again, this is actually our trap concept from a 3-by-1. They actually motion to empty. We're working a cloud concept over here too, so it's very similar to our palms look. We're just rolling the safeties. We're going to poach with this guy, and we're going to play deep third with that guy. But you can see our trap concept, again, that's Garrett Wilson. Okay, he was one of the best freshmen in the country this past year at receiver. Go watch the semifinal game and the catch that dude made against the Clemson Tigers, and you'll see why. He's unbelievable. But I believe in this, guys. I really do. If we're pressing him, it's a tough stock block as well. Whereas if I'm back here, he can come and he can lollygag and just position himself in between me and the football, and he can stock me a lot easier than he can stock me from press. Now remember, I'm going to be patient, but as soon as he comes to get me to stock me, I'm going to shock him first. All right, well, now we're just going to dip inside, and you can see he's on his heels. Here we go, roll it. He's on his heels, boom, and he can't get us. So, again, that's just the mentality from the press. We jump him right inside. That's all I get it. All right, to the coach, right? Well, I don't know. I just think that's a very difficult stock block no matter where we're going. If he keeps outside leverage, that's a tough stock block for that receiver. Okay, so you can kind of see where you can mix up some things. If you like a trap concept and you want to work trap, I like it from press. So we just call trap press.
And instead of lining up, in between, in apex 1 and 2, line up in a normal position. Now we can work it from the press position. It helps us a lot. You'll see another clip here in just a second for the same type of concept. All right, moving on here. All right, so this one I'm going to have to show in 2 different clips because our film messes up on us. We're actually in a more of a catch concept here. You'll see him playing a little bit off to a trips look, and then I want to go to the tight and show you why it worked for us. Right, we're in a catch look. Okay, as we go to the tight, I want you to watch what happens on this particular play. All right, let me roll it a little bit here. Here it comes right there. Boom. Okay, so we're in a catch concept. Again, we're not playing physical like we want when they want stuff, but the physicality comes later, and because we play so much press, this is where we get good, right? So here's that stock block. Like I mentioned just a second ago, they're stocking us. All right, not very good position by the receiver. I get that, but we are putting hands on him. We are putting hands on him, and you can see how it rolls right there, shedding, and then he gets involved in the tackle. All right, minimal gain. In fact, I think it's a loss. It is. Mike Backer does a good job getting over. Okay, outside backer loses his leverage here. All right, outside backer loses his leverage right there, gets beat. Mike Backer coming, and then we clean it up from the corner position. So again, you can see it's a mentality, right? Run press coverage. I'm not sure he plays this physical. By the way, that dude's about 158 pounds in that clip. He's not very big. He ended up going on and play some big time football, but he's not your prototypical stud 5-star. But we're going to play with that 5-star mentality. All right, moving on. All right, again. So this cat down here is about a 6'4", 210-pound, 20.3, 200-meter guy. We're pressing him. He went to Georgia to play. We're pressing him. He's an all-district, an all-state, and all this and all that. We're pressing him. It's a mentality. Guys, this is not a great, clinic clip here, but I just want you to see the mentality of a press team and what it can do to receivers. This dude wants no business coming off the ball. He wants no business. You see that right there. Right now, we've won with that shuffle. We have won with that shuffle. His stutter feet right there, I'm good. Tries to run a slant. We get our eyes on him. Again, you're in my world now. Okay, you run a 20-point. I don't care. Okay, you're 6'4". I don't care. Okay, you're going to Georgia. I don't care. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't care who you are. This is who we are. You're in my world. Come on. You can see the body language after the play, too. Yep. You don't want none of this. This is my world. That's what he told his face and said, you're in my world, dude. You're not catching the slant. Again, mentality. All right. So you can see, like, I am flirting with the fine line of cockiness and confidence, fellas. I'm cocky when it comes to come to my world and we're going to knock you out in our press stuff. Right? Or we're going to find it very, very difficult for you to catch anything slant, fade, hitch route. Come on. It's my world, not yours. Right? It's a mentality. Sorry, get caught up in that stuff. I get fired up over that. That's our rival. I know it's a steal, so that adds a little fuel to the fire too. Good old Cummins Buffaloes. Again, more drills. I'll show you guys that if y'all want to see it. I'm going to skip through it and show you some more film here, fellas. I want to show you a 3x1 clip. All right, here it is right here. So 3x1, guys, I've get this question a lot. What do you do to 3x1? Are you still working some press stuff? Here, I think we're actually in quarter halves. So this is probably not the best clip to show you as far as palms go, but it goes to the top. So I want you to show you what happens at the top of this route here, or at the top of this clip here, right? So up here, you can see something that we've added to the arsenal, and we've actually, I think Bill Belichick and Nick Saban call this the Cougar. And so we actually will man turn, flip our eyes right back now to 2 if there were a 2. But as you can see here, 2 is attached, what we call attached. So it's trips away. We're not real worried about this guy. We're really not. You can see if the backer's going to take him, we're fine. And we're going to solo up this guy. But now we're just going to add a tag, and we're going to play palms with a solo mindset. So you can see a lot of times we're going to play solo to the one receiver. He actually turns halfway like he's going to do that Cougar concept and shoot his eyes back inside. And then late, he makes another zone turn. So you'll watch it here as the clip rolls. Right there, that clip looks like right now I got man coverage. So I'm going to throw that side pocket throw, that turkey hole, whatever you want to call it, and then we flip back the other way. That's a great stymie with 2 hands. So you can see there's not a one-hand jam right there. That's a two hands, and we are stopping his momentum. And then the safety, who you can't see right now, he's out of the screen, is going to be over the top of this. Here he comes. Hell of a play. That's why he was a freshman All-American for J-Wash, and that's why he was an All-American and playing in this dome a few months later after this game and being the MVP of the Army All-American game. What a play that was. But it all started at the line of scrimmage, fellas. It all starts at the line of scrimmage. Two hands on. It allows my safety to get over there. It makes a great play, right? So there you go to a 3-by-1 look, and then you can mix it up with the quarters, quarter halves, or whatever you want to do to the trip side. Here's another. I told you the other trap look, right? We're a little bit late in getting there, but here's the trap look. Now, this guy right here, again, I want you to just understand the relativity of all this. Yes, I have dudes, but this dude is Laviska Shenault, who's about to be drafted next week, possibly in the first round. He played at Colorado. That right there is K.D. Nixon, also at Colorado. Watch how difficult it is for the stock block from the slot. We talked about the stock block from the wide out. Here's the stock block from the slot. That guy right there is nowhere near as athletic as Laviska Shenault. Let me be real with you guys, okay? He went to Arizona prep school for a little while and never played a big-time college football, right? But you can just see he just eludes the block because of how quickly he gets there on our trap look, right? We got the safety belling over the top. We're playing inside leverage there. We got a poacher on the backside, and that is a very difficult concept for this dude to come out there and block that guy because of the way we're playing. All right, and that's why I believe in it. I love to press, fellas. I love it. I think it's very difficult for a number of things in those receivers to be able to come out and do what they want to do like they do on a normal basis because so many people play off, right? So, again, just another example. I definitely want to get to your questions, fellas, so I'm going to go through this. Guys, this was actually a triple option team. You can see the size of that QB. He was about almost 3 bills, I think, but he was a decent athlete. They are actually a triple option team. They tried to trick us. What I really like here is what I want you to see is the read from the safety, right? So I told you guys we read 1, right, from a press. We're going to read 1, 2 to ball, and we're reading that front shoulder of that quarterback quite frankly, right? So you can see he's over here. He's seeing 2. We're going to get either a go or a smash. And so now I can play a little bit heavier to the outside, back to that 2 to 3 yard rule from the hash. I can really go ahead and start to squeeze. We don't need to wall. We've got true zone eyes here in case they cut this route and go to a dig. I want my linebacker to play the dig. You can see the corner up here because of the outside release is almost in a trap look right here. So he can now throttle down. I've got the safety on 2, right? I've got the safety on 2. They think we're going to stop it, and they got that. That's a long way for the safety to run. They've got that route because they cut the route here with 1, and then the safety does a great job of leveraging it, right? So you can just see the read right there. That's where the read comes into play. You can see where he looks, right? He's saying 1, okay, 2, here he is. Now I just get over the top of it, an easy pick. Again, not the greatest throw in the world, but you can see how that all played out. We're reading 2 with that corner, and now because the number 1 cut his route off, safety, we get a pick 6 early on in the game. Put them in a hole. So again, what does it look like from the safety position and fitting the run? So you can see we're alley fitters here. We're in our cover 2. That we got a nub to the boundary here, so they're almost in really a 13 personnel look. So that could be 22 or 13, whatever you want to look like. So heavy personnel. We're going to kind of crowd it a little bit, but still play with our 2 high shell. So we still have our corner up here to the boundary. We got a boundary safety, and you'll see the field safety come down and fit here in the alley, all right? But I want you to notice the lever here, right? Actually inching off there. He keeps outside leverage right there. Stick by the defense. Good job by that outside. He's out free. Now we'll get on the roof. So it's on the corner position, right, where it kind of helps with the run game.
It helps from the safety position. Sorry, let me show you again from the wide. Let it roll here. All right, so read, stick foot, come on. A few false steps there from the safety, but he comes, and then a minimal gain of 2 yards. On 2nd and 5, now it's 3rd and 3, and now we can probably send some heat and cause some problems for this offense. All right, so there you go from the safety position and how we can fit the run there. Probably one of my favorite clips of all time in all my entire coaching career right here. So, again, we got a nub here. We're calling palms up top. Okay, so we get a little bit of a sluggo look here, and we're going to poach from the backside, but I want you to watch the read of the safety, very similar to the one where we looked at with the triple option team. If you watch the read of the safety here, okay, 1, 2, 3, back to 1, right? So we call that a swivel eyes. You can see it. He's swiveling his eyes right now, and it's allowing him to play fast. Okay, we're kind of belling off and playing a catch technique from the corner. Right there, boom, and then he sees exactly the way it's folding out. Okay, so a lot of times it looks like that the corner is probably beat, and if the safety's flat foot reading and jumping that, we could get beat on this sluggo route. Well, we've got a poacher on the backside, and it almost looks like a cover 3 look. All right, but we're truly in palms right here. So again, now the quarterback doesn't know what to think. A little play action. He doesn't know what to think, and he thinks that guy's wide open because we're belling on that deep route, and then the safety jumps it. Bye-bye to the house. Just another good little switch up that we can run versus different things. It's actually a slot. I thought that was a nub. That's actually a slot down here, right? Oh, wrong play. My bad. Wrong play. Okay, so anyway, you get the idea. All right, here we go again. Good leverage here from the corner. Okay, fit in the alley with the safety, right? 3-by-1, fit in the alley with the safety. Makes him stop his feet because of the leverage of the corner. Now, a lot of people look at the corner and say he's getting whipped. He's getting pushed to lane 8. Yeah, but he keeps outside leverage. He stops his feet. We got fitters coming. That's a good job fitting that thing inside out. Minimal gain. Now it's 3rd down and 5. So we're good. There's the play again. All right, so I think that's about it. Fellas, let me stop my share so I can get to your questions and make sure they get answered.
Coach, we've got a question for you. I'm going to unmute him now.
You bet.
Coach Chu, go ahead. You should be unmuted.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate you, Coach, for sharing your philosophy and film and everything. You've talked a lot about how you can stop a lot of different things. Can you talk about what gives you problems, whether it's personnel, whether it's formation, alignments, bunch or stack or tight, motions? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Coach. Yeah, I mean, obviously any routes vertically are going to hurt us, as most coverages will attest to. One thing like with bunch, you mentioned, depending on that split, because a lot of people want to go wide bunch, a lot of people just do normal split bunch, and then the tight bunch is something that we usually have to get out of. And we've got the nub rule where we're going to banjo a lot of nub stuff. We're just going to combo that stuff. Usually to nub, we're going to check out of our palms concept just because I feel like we need a poacher regardless, and I don't want to play cover 2 read. One of the things that before we really started we used to just drop 10 yards. It used to be a 10-yard stop, and then we extended it to 15. And I think what that's allowed us to do is read that too a lot better. So one of the things that we'll do is a lot of young kids, especially, they want to run old school country cover 2, and they want to jump everything now. One of the things that we've done a different thing with, and I think a pretty good job with our middle range guys, and then definitely on Friday nights, is just be comfortable with what you see, right? So it really becomes a match concept, Coach. We're with zone eyes, but we're going to match everything. And so, with the mesh stuff, everything inside, we're just really patient. There was actually a clip that I did not show that's in that presentation. So if you want to, be sure to holler at me and I'll get it over to you. But there was a drag from the other side of the field. It was that state championship game against DeSoto. And so those drag plays, they would hurt us a lot, but our guys got so patient. Understand that those safeties, it's almost like a 3-high look eventually, or a Tampa 2 look. And those 3-high safety looks, you don't have to sink as much. So just be patient. When you get that drag, shut it down, throttle down a little bit, and then you knock that guy out that's dragging all the way across the field from the corner position. So there's definitely some things that we've struggled with, a lot of dig routes beyond, like in between the backers and the safeties. We really tried to hug our hashes with the safeties, but sometimes we can get caught up with, the safeties belling off that hash. That's why we implemented that 2 to 3 yard rule. And I talk about hugging the hash until I'm blue in the face. So those are some of the things that we've really had to be careful with. But that's a good question. And definitely there's always, the beaters, I would say probably the number one thing would be, anybody that can push verticals and really block it with bob protection and then send out that back as well, give us 5 verts, we're going to struggle with. But we really bank on, we've got a lot of good box players too. So we bank on at least getting to the quarterback and flushing him before that comes into play. And now you're in scramble mode. So hopefully that answers your question, Coach. Coach, I'm not seeing a raise your hand feature, and maybe nobody is asking questions, but if you see them, man, you got it.
Any more questions, fellas? If you like, at the bottom there, you have the raise a hand feature, and then I'll go ahead and unmute you. I think we're good there, Coach Jim.
Good deal. Man, I was either boring and put them to sleep, or I was so good they didn't have any questions. That's a good thing, right?
Hey, Coach, I appreciate you. Hey, I have something. How much time do you invest, Coach, in that palms and your coverage that you talked about tonight? How much time do you invest in some half line drills and some maybe some drills where you're just working off of routes with maybe even with no ball or something? How much do you invest in that?
Yes, sir, quite a bit. So our 2-man route stuff, we'll rep that, Coach, weekly, and sometimes more often than not. I would say in the spring, we're lucky in Texas to get spring ball in full pads, and so the 2-man route thing is an everyday drill before we go team, and then in season it'll be as needed, but definitely twice a week. Usually Monday and Tuesday, we're working 2-man routes, and that'll like precede our pass hole session with offense. So that, we're doing a lot of route rec, and a lot of that is without a ball. And then when we implement the ball, we should be playing faster because of our communication, as you saw the communication drill. And so a lot of that just goes hand in hand. That's a great question. And I find a ton of value in that. I mean, I think if you can route rec, again, whether you want to work match or whether you want to work true zone principles or man, for our palm stuff, because it is read and because it becomes match, eventually you've got to match everything when you're reading stuff. The 2-man routes is invaluable.
Great, thank you. Good stuff.
I see you, Coach Rodriguez. How you doing, Junior?
I think we've got another question here. Let's see.
You bet.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. I think you're good.
Oh, okay, very good. Hey, Coach, I enjoyed the presentation. I like that press idea, but I have a question in regards to developing your scheme, your overall scheme. Are you developed that prior to your personnel, or are you basing it knowing that your personnel has to learn your schemes and knowing what players, their ability to be able to do the concepts and ideas that you have?
Yeah, Coach Reddick, I appreciate it, and I apologize. My internet was unstable there for a minute, so I missed the first part of that, but I did catch your question. Yeah, so not really. I mean, we're really going to preach this from 7th grade on up, Coach, and so I'll use an example, and I never want to bash a kid at all. This isn't bashing a kid; it's just the truth. I'm just going to speak the truth, right? That's what we do as coaches. So I had a kid that moved in this past year who's a fantastic young man. He was all conference at a school across the city, and he came in as a senior who I was really excited about. He was opposite of 5-star, the kid that was going to Texas A&M that I mentioned earlier. We felt really good about his athleticism and all that. He really struggled with press because he had played off, and when I say off, they played like 8 to 10 yards off at his former school, and which is not a problem. That's what they do. But when I asked him to press, he had a really hard time picking things up the way that I was coaching it and really following into our scheme. Well, what ended up happening is his would-been backup blew his knee out in fall camp. And then I had a sophomore who I was kind of toggling and really playing around with, possibly playing JV who was my next best guy. Well, that sophomore comes up because of the blowout, the knee blowout. He comes up and just balls out. Ends up being second team all conference as a sophomore, and I was playing with him on JV. And so fast forward to that week 11 game, and, you know, hats off to the Austin Westlake Chaparrals because they're the state champion. We didn't beat them. But, you know, there was some really good – that was a really good receiving core. And, you know, I looked at that kid, and I said, man, you've come a long way this year. What a year you've had. I just want you to be honest with me. If you want me to have Jalen chase a kid that's going to California, you know, Jalen was my 5-star. If you want him to chase a kid that's going to California, then we'll do that. He looked at me square in the eyes and said, Coach, I took this starting job, and I'll play the way you need me to play. And I'm telling you right now, Coach, he did. Like, he locked in as a sophomore on a big stage, never flinched mentality, right? So we're going to be forgiving, and we might switch some things up, but all in all, you better figure it out because this is who we are, and this is our identity, right? So self-proclaimed DB high school, right? Everybody talks about DBU. A couple of years ago, we were joking around in a post-practice meeting, and you know, one of our kids said, "Hey, Coach, I think we're DB high school," and I said, "Man, I love that." And so we became DB high school, and DB high school is a press 2 team. We're going to work press. If you can't press, you can't play at DB high school. And so whether it's a sophomore, a senior, somebody that was previously all conference, somebody that was going to play JV, if you can do what we ask you to do, you're going to find yourself on the field. And then he found himself making some plays in some pretty big ball games. So I think it was a great question. Hopefully I answered you. Hopefully I didn't miss anything in the first part of that when my internet was acting up. But that's kind of who we are, Coach.
Oh, that's good. I mean, because it takes a certain person or a certain type of athlete to be able to press and be able to beat up that receiver within that 5 yards prior to getting beat, you know, because that can kill you. But I like to press. And coming out of Texas myself, I enjoy that smash mouth football. So I think that was a good job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, we got to do it on the perimeter, right? Everybody wants to, you know, kind of play soft nowadays because they're worried about the rules. And, you know, that's something I think the rules are always going to change, but we can't change the way we play the game. So I agree with you wholeheartedly there. And I think, you know, you're right. At the same time, Coach, I think if you teach it, especially at an early age, and we have that luxury in Texas because we have these kids truthfully year round. I mean, I want them to play other sports. So please hear me. You heard me earlier. I'm a basketball guy too, you know, and I've coached baseball. I've coached track. I've actually coached basketball. I've coached freaking lacrosse that I knew nothing about. But at the end of the day, like, I want you to understand that you can do this. You know, as a coach, I'm going to instill some confidence in you, young man, where, yeah, it is difficult, but, you know, beating that dude up for 5 yards and then losing your read on 2, then you're not doing your job. So,
right.
You know, that can fluctuate. So I guess, you know, maybe that's part of your answer too, is that can fluctuate based on, again, Friday night abilities is a big deal for us. We've found that, you know, I mean, I had a kid now, he played safety. He didn't play corner, but our safety position is very difficult because you have to know so many things. Well, this kid was a quarterback growing up, you know, youth ball. His freshman year, he played quarterback and then came in, played JV as a sophomore, and then was a starting safety alongside a 5-star. Again, he's going to get picked on 4 games into his junior year. So he didn't have a whole lot of reps under his belt. And he ended up taking ownership of that freaking position, and now he's at SMU playing safety. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just a big deal about how, and that's not me. That's not my coaching. That's that kid buying into our mentality. Again, knowing what you have to know as a safety at Steele High School, at DB High School, owning it, going and getting it, and then finding yourself as a scholarship player in a group of 5 school. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just a believer in it, man.
Very good. Thank you.
You bet, Coach. Thank you. Anything else, Coach?
Hey, Coach Harvey.
There he is. What's up, man?
Hey, brother. Hey, man.
How are
Hey,
you?
congratulations on that Hutto gig, man. I hadn't had a chance to really talk to you about that, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited, man. It's gonna be good.
Hey, that Palms coverage, man. I'm a big fan of that. You mentioned earlier about most teams, they start off in a shotgun. We're in a pass-heavy district, you know. So, how do you instill that into your younger guys? Like, as far as how many periods do you guys start off? Do you guys start off at the very early level. It's a difficult concept to coach even at the JV level. But how much time do y'all spend on that?
Yeah, Coach, that's a good question. I mean, I think going back to what I was saying earlier, you got to get your younger guys involved too. I mean, your feeders have to be bought in. If you're going to do this press thing, that's one of the things where, like, when I've talked to college guys, and it doesn't matter what level, it's all relative, right? But college guys are really scared of this, and particularly in our neck of the woods, the Big 12, because of that deep ball. And I get it, I do. But if you think about it, there's so many teams that play off and so many teams that play catch because of the things that we're all afraid of, that, it's hard to instill at the college level because they haven't done it. Just like the kid I just mentioned. Crap, that kid was all conference, and the league I'm talking about because he came from Madison, Coach.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
sure.
saying? Like, he's a great ball player, but he just couldn't get it. He just couldn't get it because he hadn't done it since the 7th grade. So, to answer your question, I think you got to get into your feeders, because I think if you start at the freshman level, it could happen, but they're probably not going to pick it up until later in their sophomore year if you just start at the freshman level. Whereas if you do it in 7th and 8th grade, one of the things that I kind of have a hang up with, not necessarily with youth ball, but there's so many bad habits that are being built, and so I look at my kids, for example, the kids that I live with, my own 2 sons. I don't want them to go and learn from this clown that doesn't know ball, that just wanted to be a coach and never went to school. And no offense to anybody in that world, because there's some really good youth ball coaches in San Antonio, really good ones. There's some lousy ones too. But I don't want bad habits. Like, I want my habits to be built and scaffolded upon. We talk about scaffolding all the time in in education, from the elementary level all the way up, right? If we're not scaffolding with what our concepts and what our mentality is going to be, then we're doing those kids a disservice. So you mean to tell me that the feeders are doing something completely different, and now all of a sudden as a freshman you're going to start teaching them something different? I mean, I struggle with that. And so, that's probably a head coach thing. And then you're probably saying, well, Coach, we got 3 feeders, and I get it. That's a problem. But if you've got 3 feeders and some of them are going to this school, some of them are going to that school, then you got to maybe look at your, just look at your pros and cons. Is this worth it? Because if it's not worth it, then don't do it. We have 1 feeder. And so where I'm going, we have 2 middle schools. And so, but I guarantee you, I'm going to go to those middle school coaches and I'm going to be like, here's what these kids have to know coming in as freshmen, or I'm going to be on you, because it's your responsibility to teach them how that we're going to play this game. Yeah.
Gotcha, Coach. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Hey, I think I'm on. Hey, Coach, great talk. Appreciate you being with us tonight. And we've been, running Cover 2 for several years. We just call it Cover 2, not Palms, but same concept. And we don't press all the time, but we will bump, and some great coaching points. But you said something a minute ago that piqued my interest. I'm a head coach in Mississippi, and we are all losing our mind about missing spring ball and trying to figure out, what we're going to do. We possibly may be able to start June 1st. I'm thinking that's probably going to be more like the middle of June or July 1st. So have you and your guys sort of come up with any great contingency idea? If I'm not mistaken, I know Texas, y'all really couldn't do a lot in the summer prior to this, like 7-on-7 stuff like that. But have they changed anything, or have y'all made any plans? I'm just trying to get a bunch of different perspectives.
Yeah, Coach, I think we're all in the same boat. First of all, thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it. But I think we're all in the same boat. One of the things that I've been brainstorming with and probably going to implement, in fact, next week. So right now, I've just done a virtual install. I actually condensed a 5-day install into 3 days. But we've been meeting with our kids every day defensively. And some of those days are just check-in days, and then others long team days. So the UIL has allowed us, I say the UIL, that's our governing body in Texas, but the state has allowed us, the 60-minute time limit daily. So very similar to what a lot of the colleges are doing, we're getting with our kids. And so what we're doing is we condensed a 5-day install into 3. And now I'm talking to them about, we're sending out workouts on band every day. Our strength and conditioning coordinator is coming up with workouts, and we're sending out on band. Well, how can we make these workouts more football specific because we're missing spring ball? So that's something that I tell them, hey, take a video, shoot me a text, and let me know what you're doing. Ask questions, those type of things. And then the other thing I'm going to implement next week actually man, our offensive coordinator is top notch, and what he's done is we're starting to get film for next year's opponents. And so earlier I mentioned, I can't remember if it was actually part of the clinic or if it was just Coach Cam and I talking, but we've bumped up a classification in this new school that I'm just joining. And so we're going to be a 6A school, and we have gotten some film from our future opponents. So if you have film of your future opponents, that's one thing that I'm doing. I'm actually going to go show them a lot of still screens, still photos. Okay, guys, think about our install. What were we calling here? What strength? What coverage do you think we should be in from the back end? Box players, what is your responsibility? And now have them regurgitate all the things that we've installed so that it's checking for understanding is what it is. And now I understand what they know and what they don't know. Then we can go back and revisit that and maximize our time during this quarantine so that when we're on the field, hey, remember when, and it just kind of all comes back as second nature. And so that's some of the things I'm kicking around thinking about. One of the other things that I've got to be careful with, because I'm such a ball freak and nerd about it, is overload too, and with those kids. Because I could sit, I could sit here all night and ball, but I got to make sure that what I'm giving those kids, it's registering, and it's, that's kind of why I condensed it to a 3-day install. I didn't want to put too much on them right now.
Right.
So, just, man, it's tough. And I'm with you, Coach, right there with you, man. I if you've got any ideas, shoot, be sure to holler back at me for sure.
Well, we had a session of quarterback academy today. Had my 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and I have 2 senior quarterbacks. Just sat down and went through a few plays. But we've been doing workouts steady since we were shut down from school, even before we knew we weren't going back. And we've been, doing the check-in, doing that. But we, where I'm at, we're on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, but we have a lot of kids that, aren't necessarily able to get to internet at a specific time, or they can't necessarily, they don't have the greatest connection, so on and so forth. They might be using a hotspot, or, we have some poverty situations, things like that, which we're battling. But definitely the still shot thing, Coach, is a great idea, and me and my DC will definitely talk about that and look into it. So
good deal, Coach. Good luck to you.
You too.
Hey, great job, Coach. I appreciate you, Coach Harvey. It's been fantastic. Lots of great information there, and I love the physicality and that mentality, right? And it's football. You got to be physical, right? To get on that field. So thanks a lot, Coach. We really appreciate you. Everything you're doing. Keep it up. I'm glad you're able to come on and speak to these guys, and we can all get together and have this time to talk some ball. So really appreciate your time, Coach. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Coach, and appreciate you offering the opportunity and reaching out to me. And I'm going to try to stick on here as long as I can. I got an 8 o'clock meeting, but I want to hear Coach Mons, and I know he's a great ball coach as well. So appreciate the opportunity, man.
All right. Take care. Stay safe out there, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.